Okay, because Ottawa is such a big city, this video will be divided into several sections, which you can see exact times in the description. First, we'll be exploring Parliament Hill. In the second section, we'll be exploring the Waterfront, including the Rideau Canal, the Glebe District, and Centretown, or otherwise the downtown. And in the final section, we'll be exploring Lower Town, which includes the Byward Market and the University District. Add them all up, and it means...
We're in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. So today we're in Ottawa. Now it is a big city and we are on foot. So we know we're not going to see everything, but we're going to try to hit some of the key areas either downtown or adjacent to downtown over the next couple days. So come along with us. In this section, we'll be exploring Parliament Hill and all the cool government buildings.
For context, this was filmed May 9th, 10th, and 11th of 2025. And again, if there's a specific area of the downtown that you want to check out, refer to the description section where I have very specific places and times.
This is the Fairmont Chateau Laurier, built in 1912 at Rideau Street. I think we said it wrong in the other parts of the video. It's across from Parliament Hill. It's been called the third chamber of Parliament because a number of prominent Canadian politicians as well as world leaders have stayed there. So we're kind of going about this in a non-traditional way. We're coming along the back side of the building so you can see some of the river, and then we're going to work our way around to the front of these amazing structures. Ottawa was founded in 1826 as Bytown and incorporated as Ottawa in 1855. The building in the distance across the water there is the National Gallery of Canada. It's Canada's National Art Museum. It moved to this location in 1988. This is the Library of Parliament, built in 1876, and it actually survived the 1916 fire that destroyed Centre Block. The population is 1 million people, which is the fourth largest in Canada, and the metropolitan area is 1.5 million, which is also the fourth largest in Canada. Now we're approaching the Parliament of Canada buildings. This consists of East Block, Centre Block, and West Block, which were all built between 1859 and 1910. Ottawa was named the capital of Canada in 1857, which predates the Confederation of Canada. So here we are in front of Canada's Supreme Court building. We've gone down about as far as we can go in that government district, so we're going to go back up and show you the front side of these buildings. The buildings across the street with the bridge are the East and West Memorial Buildings, built after World War II to honor veterans and provide veteran services. This is the Wellington Building, opened in 1927. It's occupied by the House of Commons and serves several parliamentary functions.
Take note of the tulips. You'll see them all throughout the video. As luck would have it, we timed our visit during the annual Tulip Festival, which we'll see later in the video. I'm just going to state the obvious here, but These buildings were beautiful, like North American castles. It looks like it's time to wrap up this first section, but don't worry, we'll be back to visit some of these buildings on a much prettier day. All right, what'd you think of Parliament Hill?
I loved this. I could have taken 1,000 pictures. These are the coolest buildings, and I'm going to need to do some homework because they're Gothic style, but my guess is they're actually not as old as I think they are. But the history here is amazing. I loved it.
Yeah, this is very cool. It's almost like North American castles. I mean,
yeah,
they're very beautiful. And I know to get this video at a reasonable length, it'll be criminal how much I have to edit out, but hopefully this will be a good teaser for you if you're at all interested in visiting Ottawa. There's much more than you're going to see in this video, so I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of the sections because so far we're off to an awesome start.
So in this section, we're going to check out the waterfront and the Rideau Canal. The Rideau Canal is a 125-mile canal that links the Ottawa River with the Cataraqui River and Lake Ontario. It was constructed between 1826 and 1832. This bridge, built in 1900, connects Ottawa with Quebec. The tan buildings with pillars is the Canadian Museum of History, established in 1856 and moved to its current location in 1989. And here we have the Bytown Museum, established in 1917 and moved to this location in 1951. So it's a beautiful day and we're down here by the Rideau Canal. This trail is about 100 miles long and we're on foot, so we're obviously not going the full way. But up at the road about 2 miles along the path is the Lansdowne area, and we've heard that's a neat area, so we're headed that way to check it out. This is the Cartier Square Armory, part of the Department of Defense.
As you can see, the weather improves significantly the next day and throughout the rest of our filming days.
As Jeff mentioned earlier, we were there during the Tulip Festival. This is held annually in May, and the 2025 festival featured over 300,000 tulips across 26 gardens throughout the city.
And due to the climate, apparently the tulips are very short-lived, so we really feel fortunate to have timed our visit when we did, because we had no idea that this was even going on when we planned it. We're going to check out, I believe it's called the Glebe section of town, and then Centretown via Bank Street. We talk about being flexible when you travel. These weren't on our radar, but we just peeked our head on that street and it looks fantastic, so let's go check it out. Just a quick apology. I'm sure we've slaughtered the pronunciation of some of these areas throughout the video. That's our superpower. So if we did, no offense. We're just winging it as we go.
So now we're in the Glebe neighborhood. It has about 13,000 people in it. The word means church lands, and the reason it's named that is in the initial 1837 survey of Ottawa, this 178-acre area was deeded by the Crown to St. Andrew's Presbyterian Church. When it was opened for development in 1870, the real estate agents just called it the Glebe.
Yeah, this really was a fantastic district. So close to downtown, but yet had a vibe all of its own. Loved it. Quick side note, if you see the art on the streets throughout this video, we will revisit it in a dedicated street art section towards the end of the video. All right, so we just left the Glebe District, hope I'm pronouncing that right, and and entering what they're calling the Centretown district, which I think is just the downtown, certainly more of a business district. So let's go check that out. My beardar was working that day, and after a couple-mile trek up the canal, it was time to enjoy a beverage.
The Centretown neighborhood has about 26,000 residents. It's a mix of residential and commercial. It's largely single-family homes, but they are starting to build more multifamily residences.
Like the Glebe District, this was also a really cool area of the downtown. You had the businesses along the main street, and then the side streets had different types of residences. Check out this little section of buildings on this block. Very cool. Also notice the interesting mix of old and new throughout this area.
This beautiful church is St. Patrick's Basilica, built in 1875. It is the oldest church catering to English-speaking congregations.
So I guess that means there's a French church that's older, right?
I'm guessing that's true.
Well, when you remember we're literally a bridge away from Quebec, I guess that makes sense. It looks like it's time for our next update. All right, we've actually been walking around the core of this downtown for quite a bit and haven't really done much filming. Don't get me wrong, it's cool, but not in the way that we like for our channel. This is mostly a business district, banks, government buildings, and the vast majority of these buildings seem to be pretty new. However, we did find one street, I believe it's called Spark Street, that's closed to traffic. That is very cool. So we're going to sort of end this section with a stroll down that street, which happens to be one street off from the street that all the government buildings are. And so when we filmed those, it wasn't such a nice day like it is today. So we'll sort of in and out, and so you can get the views of those buildings again in this amazing weather. So that's how we'll finish this section, and I think you're going to dig this street.
Spark Street was actually a major road in Ottawa that was converted to pedestrian only in 1967, making it the earliest of such streets in Canada.
Yeah, I love these pedestrian-only streets. I wish more big cities would do this. It's such a fantastic way to enjoy the downtown core without the stress of traffic everywhere. And as promised, here's another look at those majestic government buildings on a much more gorgeous day.
Of note, while Ottawa is the capital of Canada, it's not the capital of Ontario. That's Toronto.
And no, we have no explanation for what you just saw there. Some kind of impromptu dancing.
Spark Street is mixed use, bars, restaurants, shops, but the government is actually the major landlord on the street and does occupy several of the buildings. That flag for Rib Fest reminds me that they host lots of festivals along this street, and the Chicken and Rib Fest cook-off is every year in late June.
Yeah, this was a great street for sure, and it looks like it's time for another update. All right, what'd you think of Glebe and Centretown?
I liked it. There was a lot of interesting differences between brand new glass buildings and really old buildings. Glebe also had a lot of residential, which was cool to see, and it was pretty happening because it's Saturday and it's a beautiful day, so I loved it.
Yeah, the Glebe District, neighborhood, community, whatever, was really fantastic.
Yeah.
The downtown, I think I said earlier, I mean, this is very business-centric, and that's very cool, don't get me wrong, these are beautiful buildings, but they're new buildings, and our channel really is more focused on the historic downtowns. So that's why we sort of stuck mostly to this street here, which is fantastic. So this section was great, really glad that we did it, and what an amazingly nice day to do it. So got, maybe one or two more sections to go, but we're having a blast.
In this section, we'll be exploring Byward Market, Lower Town, and the University District. And we start this section in front of the National Gallery of Canada, which I pointed out earlier. This is the Royal Canadian Mint, built in 1908. Now it only produces collector coins. This is the Notre Dame Cathedral Basilica, built in 1858.
And here was an interesting little arts alleyway that we checked out.
And we found ourselves passing the U.S. Embassy. We're now entering the Byward Market area. This market is open year-round. The Byward name comes from the word ward or area, and it was named for John By, the original surveyor.
Yeah, if you plan to visit, this is a must-see district, but also know it's a very popular district, very busy district, and some of the streets are closed to traffic, so plan accordingly. Here on the outskirts of the market, you can see some of the older buildings. And there's certainly signs that this area is under development. And you can see a combination of buildings as well as outdoor market space. Whether that's every day, we don't know. We happen to be here on a weekend, so that could be a weekend thing, something you want to check out before you visit.
Chateau Lafayette here is Ottawa's oldest tavern, built in 1849. And we're coming up on the University of Ottawa's main campus. It's a bilingual public research university built in 1848.
And here we are on the actual campus. With that said, it's time to wrap this section up, followed by our street art section, and then we'll give our final thoughts on our trip to Ottawa. All right, what did you think about today's section?
This was great. That Byward Market area was very cool. Loved that. Lots of old and new mixed together, and then getting a little look at the campus was very cool. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, every single thing about today was awesome. This was such a fun day. The marketplace is cool. I wish I was a cow with three stomachs because there's so many bars and restaurants I want to try, which is what we're doing after this. This college campus is cool. We don't do college tours per se, but this is so integrated in the town, it just seemed like it'd be awkward to not acknowledge it. Yeah, this was a great section and I loved it. So this has been fun so far.
Definitely. And here's the street art section. We have pictures that we took throughout the 3 days that we were filming.
All right, what did you think of Ottawa?
I loved Ottawa. It's cool because it's the capital city, so there's all the government buildings, which are that really cool architectural style, that Gothic look. But then you've got the university and very vibrant neighborhoods. I just really enjoyed exploring all of it.
Yeah, this was a fantastic trip. I loved every section that we filmed, and I mean every section. The Parliament Hill is incredible. Those buildings are beautiful. The canal, the waterways, the marketplace, the college, the neighborhoods, everything about this was fantastic, and I'm so glad that we spent some time here. This is going to be a hard video to edit, I can tell you that right now.
Right.
All right, get off the couch. We'll see you next time.
Cheers.